Well, good afternoon, maybe even good evening. This is Ron Wheeler, and I will be the host of your Options Paycheck class tonight. I opened the room here just a few minutes early because, well, I do like to make sure that everything works, the technology and all that great stuff. So, again, my name is Ron Wheeler, and we're going to start formally here in about 3.5, 4 minutes. It's going to be a great webinar, so I'm excited to share these income trading secrets with you. Hopefully, you're excited to be here as well. So as I mentioned, I wanted to do a quick check just to make sure all the tech stuff is working. So if you can hear me, if you can see my screen, it says the options paycheck on it. Do me a favor, type yes in the chat window, and then also let me know where you're from. It's a good time today to find that chat box because we're going to be using it quite a bit today. And certain times during the class, I'm going to ask you for different questions and some different feedback and all that kind of stuff. So it's good to kind of find that chat window real quick because you're going to be using it. All right. Well, Donald, you were first. Hey, Canada, we got Brittany. Yeah, welcome to you. And Gabriel from New Orleans and John, Florida. Jerry from Arizona. I'm just reading a couple of them here. New York, Brian. Balaram, you're from the Bay Area. Welcome. Rochester, New York, Stephen. I've been up there a few times. Phoenix, Stephen, welcome to you. There's two Stevens in a row. Ben, Wyoming. Donald from the great city of Reno. Been there myself quite a few times. Erie, PA. Welcome, Dennis. Dennis, I know you. You're good people. Lucas, Fort Worth, Texas. David from Hawaii. Oh, I miss Hawaii. Ed from Arizona. Couple few folks from Arizona. Martin, welcome to you. And David from San Antonio. Ian from Canada. Welcome. Glad to hear that you can hear. Martin, Nashville. Brittany from Virginia. Welcome to you. And then Bruce, Louisiana. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, David, Allen, Indiana, Theo from Calgary, Tim, Tampa, Florida, Gary, loud and clear on my side too, and from Canada, Villa Rica, Georgia. Ben, welcome to you. I always usually tell you where I'm from first, but I completely forgot about that. Alan from Indiana, it's good to see you here and good to have you here with us. I can hear you. Michael from suburban Philadelphia, welcome. Anthony from San Diego, and then Avatar from Toronto. I'm actually from Ohio. Born and raised in Ohio. I've pretty much lived here all my life, except for I lived about 2 years in Michigan. But I'm actually in kind of just south of Cleveland, a little bit west of Akron, so northeast Ohio. If you didn't know, VectorVest, who has these classes, and VectorVest, who does these, we have two offices. We have one in Ohio here, and then we have one down in North Carolina. My other colleagues that are going to be here today, Brian and John, who's in the background also, that'll be helping me with questions. They're from the North Carolina office. Dane, Atlantic City. I spent a lot of my formative years in Atlantic City. My parents were gamblers. Isn't that interesting how I became an options trader, right? But yeah, my parents would go to Atlantic City 7, 8, 9 times a year, and there was nothing better than, back in the 80s and stuff, going to Atlantic City with them. It was so much fun. A lot of people are like, oh my God, your parents took you to casinos? Well, yes, they did, and I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I loved it, So yeah, I loved it. And you're saying you're going on and then off, possibly you're Michael. Hopefully that gets better. Michael, father was an original member of the Cleveland Browns. Nice. I'm a big Browns fan. A little disappointing this year so far, but we've got a lot of injuries too, which is kind of a bummer. Just when things get good, right, you get some injuries that slap you down. All right, well, I'll tell you what. It is 6 o'clock on the nose here on the east side. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar called the Options Paycheck. And in today's webinar, I'll be showing you the breakthrough system that we developed here at VectorVest that's going to help us generate safe monthly income in any market. Now, the information I'm going to share with you has changed my life, and I've seen it change the lives of so many people. So I hope you're excited about it as well. In fact, my promise to you today is this. You're going to see how you can begin making a paycheck averaging $3,000 or more per month. Now that figure is based on the fact that most of our clients and our testing and our trading has averaged about 3% per month over the last decade. Okay? You're going to have months where you're up, you're going to have months where you're down, but over the long haul, we average about 3% per month. So, really quick, what's that $3,000? You would need $100,000 to trade to make $3,000 a month. Ron, I only have $50,000. Not a problem. $1,500 a month. Ron, I only have $25,000. $750 a month. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. we can do that 3% per month using some of our most basic strategies. Now, keep in mind, you can do this regardless of market direction with little to no prior experience. It's safer than simply buying or selling stocks. And the beauty of this is you can make money even if your analysis is incorrect. Now, the information that you learn here today is really going to allow you to have a worry-free lifestyle. Extra income. When you're retired, that's helpful. When you're still working, it provides extra income stream. It is a good thing to have. Now, I know that 3% per month may sound too good to be true, but the truth is a lot of our clients are doing even better than this. So in today's webinar, I'll show you the exact system I use to generate these types of returns, case studies and examples of our clients who are doing this month in and month out. And I'm going to show you our system so that if you learn and follow the strategy, you can do the same. And I'm going to prove to you that our options paycheck system will get better returns safely. And again, even safer than just trading stocks or options alone. Now, I always like to start with some feedback from some of our former clients that use this. This is Bobby. He put a really nice post up on Facebook for us, and he said, I couldn't help but notice in today's webinar a general angst. Every now and then you go through periods where you have a little bit lower success, right? He's like, I just want to let you know and encourage this for what it's worth, and a genuine thanks to Ron Wheeler. I couldn't be more happy with the system and the results charted below since I first took the Paycheck course over a year ago. They're probably not all that impressive in their own right. Approximately 20% gain on a $150,000 portfolio, 88% win rate on 174 trades. And certainly not boast-worthy, although I disagree, but take into the account I've managed to pull this off while working 80 hours a week, trying to keep a 10-franchise learning center business from collapsing due to the past year, trading on average less than 30% the size of the positions that he could be based on portfolio size, and oh yeah, keeping a couple of young teens on track. I know there are many other and far better success stories scattered throughout this page, and maybe my challenges aren't any different than most of yours. Still, I hope this will encourage you, some of you who might feel doubt. For me, it's been fantastic, all the wins and losses, and I can't wait to get out from the day-to-day business in order to be able to do Paycheck and other strategies more full-time and really make some serious income. So anyway, Ron, thank you. Best $900 I've ever spent, current market included. And thank you to all the regulars in the group who have been keep on keeping on. Here's his gains that he posted. This was as of August of 2021, so just not too much long ago. And he's actually doing better than I was doing in that series of time. And that's great. I love to see my clients actually get better results than I do sometimes. Because, you know, that means that they're out there finding these trades and they're doing very well on their own. It's just good to see people that we've taught this to having success. And what I also want you to notice on this graph is I want you to notice kind of the real life here, right? You've got times when you're going to make money. There's going to be some drawdown every now and then. You're going to make money. You got some drawdown, and you're going to make money. That's how a real trading system works. It's not just one straight line going up. But that was one of our clients, Bobby, who posted that, you know, late summer this year on our Facebook forum. And the things that he's doing is kind of the crux of our system. This is an example of Costco. Costco had a great looking chart. I've traded Costco a lot. Price was rising, it's going up, it's got rising earnings, good fundamentals, everything looked good. But if you would have bought the stock only rose about 1.4%, so that's not so great, right? But the Paycheck system, you don't have to be exactly right on direction. On that day right there, the stock was only up 1% from where we actually got into the trade. And one of my students, Frank, closed that trade this morning for a net of $955. Still watching the other trades. Frank learned that Paycheck system that you're going to learn today, and he posted in our Facebook group about that $955. Now imagine having several of these trades each month. Will there be losing trades? Oh, you bet there's going to be some losing trades. That's just the nature of trading. But with the Paycheck system, we've averaged over 70% winning trades over the last decade. And that's what results in that consistent net income. So today, I'm going to show you the trade that does just that. So if that sounds good to you, now's a great time to turn off your distractions and close your door and all that kind of stuff. I don't want you to multitask. Stay focused and give this your full attention. Now, I mentioned earlier, my name is Ron Wheeler, and I'm the options income coach here at VectorVest. I got my start in trading 24 years ago. And when I first started, for the first couple of years, I had mostly losses. A lot of investors start that way. I blew out or lost my first 2 trading accounts. Now, the reason that I lost money was the reason that a lot of investors lose money. Number one, I was trading basically at a zero-sum game. If I bought something, if it didn't go up, I lost. If I sold something and it didn't go down, I lost. It had to go in my direction. And then once you learn how to get direction right, you got to start managing the trades properly. You got to make sure that you're not losing more than you win. You got to make sure you're not exposing your portfolio to too much risk. There's all kinds of stuff that go into being a successful trader. Took me about 2 years under the tutelage of some of the finest traders in the country. Finally, after about 2 years, I became successful. Now, I was teaching technical analysis after I became successful at this, and a lot of clients that I had taught traded all kinds of different stuff. One of my clients in particular actually traded options for a hedge fund. It was about a $600 million hedge fund out of the Midwest. He came into our office one week because he happened to be in town. And he's like, "Hey, Ron, I know you have kind of a sour feel on options. Let me show you what I do with options." And to make a long story short, he showed me the concept of being an options trader. Different than what I had imagined before. He showed me the secrets to how these big institutions do this and can make money. He showed me that by selling options, I can put trades on that pay me profits even if I was wrong. A trade that I would take and lose money on, he could put on a similar trade with options and make money even if we were both wrong on the direction. That was like a mind-blowing thing. And that really got my mind started in the option side of this. So today's journey, I'm going to show you basically what he showed me, that key strategic shift that can help us generate income safely from the market. You're going to see the real problem that's been holding you back from winning a lot more than you lose. I'm going to show you how to trade with little risk, okay? How to win even if you're wrong. And then finally, I'm going to wrap it all up in a bulletproof system that you can use in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, I want you to stick to the end because we have a lot of great things to cover, and it's really important. So if you stick to the end, I put together a little checklist to help you plan out your trade. It's a PDF I'll put right in the handout section of today's GoToWebinar. Do me a favor, just remind me when we get to the Q&A portion of tonight, because sometimes after an hour, my mind's racing and I forget. Now, why is it important you stay with us? To understand why this is important, I'm going to ask you a question. Why do we work in the first place? If you surveyed 100 people and asked them why they go to work in the first place, you might get a bunch of responses like, well, contribution to society. It gives me a sense of achievement, or it gives me purpose. But I guarantee the overwhelming answer to this question would be, I always want to say like survey says here, for the paycheck. The paycheck enables us to live hopefully well today, but also put enough away for the future so we don't always have to work. Now, the hard truth is, without a system to help you generate income, you're stuck trading your time or your life for that money. In other words, without an income system, it's on you, and that creates a number of problems for us. If we aren't retired, we're in a situation to where we have to work to live. It means we're trading our time or our lives for money. Whether you got a lot of money or no money at all, concerns about finances are one of the leading causes of stress. Worrying about whether we'll have enough or we'll run out of money, that has a huge impact on your life, your health, and even your relationships. It's one of the leading causes of divorce. So in other words, we can't stop until we have enough, but we don't really know what that is. So we keep working to get enough, just like that hamster on the wheel. We're taught to work for some future event called retirement. That's where we can stop working so hard and enjoy ourselves. In my opinion, though, working to save enough for retirement on its own is not really the best approach. Because if you're retired, you might be watching that nest egg get depleted faster than you can fill it. If you're retired, if things don't improve, you may have to give up and go back to work. Worst case, you might run out of money during retirement, or your standard of living will drop and you can't live the lifestyle you want. Now, if you're not retired, that extra income will be beneficial. It's like having a second job. With a system to help you generate income, things are a lot different. And I really think that this is one of the most important points of the webinar. So kind of pay attention. Write this down. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. And this is why most of us spend the majority of our lives working for a paycheck. But in order to become financially free, all you really need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So I'll say that again. In order to truly become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to help you cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So whether you're still working or retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is really one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Now, let me be clear on this. I'm not suggesting you go out there and quit your day job and start trading, right? But when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will definitely change. If you're still working like I am, you get to increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. My wife, we have dual incomes. No, we don't. We have 3 incomes because I invest and I make consistent income. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income like you quit your job, but you still get their paycheck. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you need it. That's going to allow you to do things you want to do now and also when you retire. And that's why what we're going to talk about today is so important. When you've got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire sooner. Whether you're retired or not, it can help you live a wealthier life without really depleting your nest egg. So as I said, this is one of the most important points. So I'm going to say it one more time. When the income from our investments exceeds our living expenses, we become financially free or have the ability to stop working. In my opinion, this learning how to generate income is probably the most important thing that you're going to have, even more important than what you earn in your jobs. We work for income. We can stop it when that income from our investments is enough for us to live. And you'd be really surprised in how little you need to get started. One of our clients, Brian, is a great example how you can become started with this, even with a small amount. Brian had some health problems and needed a way to supplement his income. By using that paycheck system, he was able to generate $23,000 in profits by starting with $6,000 in 10 months. 31 of 31 winning trades using our most basic index system. Now, what I want you to understand here, this is not beginner's luck. It was the result of following a good system. The system that helped him get those 100% winning trades, create that $23,000 in profit starting with just $6,000, and he did it in 10 months. Now, like my mentor or one of my clients did to me, the first thing you need to do to take control of your returns is a bit of a strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being the gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way to consistent income. This is what allows you to win even if you're wrong. Now, why do we want to be the casino or the house? Well, there's 2 things. The house always wins, right? And the second is the house wins because it controls and stacks probability in its favor. And that's what the options paycheck system is built around, stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of that. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to stack probability in your favor. This is why the house always wins. They know the easy way to beat the games, and they create the rules to stack the odds in their favor. So the obvious question is, well, how do we do it? The first step is to shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain, and I'll give you an example of another client. Bruce is a great example of shifting from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability. He said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from his brokers, but he focused with us on the S&P 500 income system, which is our most basic trading strategy. He said he's not the most technical person in the world. He didn't want to really study a lot of graphs, so he stayed with the S&P. In the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100,000 to over 497,000 in 3.5 years. He said he's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system. And the whole thing takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you the idea here. Here's an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make, right? Stock's about right here. You find a stock you like. You think it'll go up. So you buy 100 shares of stock. Or maybe you buy a call, right? Why do you buy a call option? Because that's the basic options trade, right? That's the first trade you learn as an options trader. It's what you're taught to do. It gives you the right to own the stock. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Well, the stock just doesn't go up, immediately went down, or maybe it does go up, but it went up too late for you to make money, and it ends up expiring worthless. Has it ever happened to you? Remember I told you early on I had a negative taste for options? This is kind of why I did. Now, what's the problem that's actually causing you to lose here? If you go back, a lot of people feel that maybe they picked the wrong stock. I never thought I picked the wrong stock. Maybe they picked the wrong strike price of the option, maybe even the wrong expiration. Well, I'm going to tell you the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losses than winners with other option systems, it's not your fault, because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option, but as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. If you want to break that, you need to become an option seller. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking, the way of being a seller and not a buyer. This is how you get ahead of everybody else. This is how you put probability on your side, and this is how you can win even if you're wrong. So let me show you how this works. Let's take a closer look. As a buyer, we have a typical trade here that gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner, right? 50-50 chance. You buy the stock right here, you have a 50% chance it's going to go up, you have a 50% chance it's going to go down, right? Now, instead of having a buyer's mentality, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a seller's mentality. Instead of hoping that the stock just goes up, we are going to strategically set up your trade using probability, because probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of needing the stock to just go in your direction, I can pick a price down here that says as long as the stock doesn't drop to 195, that's about an $8 move down, I can still make money on this trade. Now think about that. If you're bullish on a stock and the stock goes up and you buy the stock, you make money. If you buy stock and the stock goes sideways, you break even. If you buy an option and the market or stock goes sideways, you lose. If you buy a stock and the stock moves down, you lose. If you buy a call, you lose. In this particular case, we can make money going up, sideways, or even down a little bit. What we've done is we've now given ourselves a 60% chance to make money. Right from the very beginning, probability is in your favor. It's like getting a head start, if you will, right? Man, if I had only bought that stock at 195 when it's 203, well, this is kind of the way you can do that, right? Now you can make money as long as the stock stays up above 195. And here's the cool part. In some trades, we can even increase this farther. Instead of 195, I'm down here at 190. Now I've got a 70% chance of this stock making money for me. Up, I win. Sideways, I win. As long as it stays above 190, I win. And if it drops below 190, I take a small proportional loss. I don't get blown out. I don't lose 7 winners. I take a small proportional loss. And the only way that you can do this is as an option seller. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor. This is why I call this, it's my definition of an income trade. An income trade is one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction. I want to introduce another one of my clients, Mike. Mike was someone who dabbled with options, but he said he lost on each trade. Sounds like me when I first started trading options. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that must be to lose on every one of your trades? Well, he stopped trading eventually. He wanted to take some time out to learn more about options. But he said even after he learned, he never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. He said he didn't have any set criteria. So Mike and I worked together. I taught him the Paycheck system of being the option seller, and he said it was like a switch. He immediately became an income machine. He learned the system, immediately went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. Now, again, the key lesson, like you learned with Brian, like you saw Bruce, implementing the system, going from that buyer to a seller, is how they turn their situation around. He was so proud of his success, he even sent me a spreadsheet of his trades. Notice the number of winners compared to the number of losers. That's pretty typical. Now notice the length of the trade. These are not swing trades. These are not day trades. The average trade lasts about 7 to 10 days. Now, our most basic system, which just trades the S&P 500, it's averaged over 85% winners over the last decade. You're placing trades that have a high probability of winning. So think about it like this. Instead of being the gambler who loses money, you're going to be the casino where those odds are stacked in your favor. Now I'm going to use a baseball analogy, right? The key takeaway here is this. We are going to become that shortstop that hits for 350 and has a high on-base percentage. We're the ones that are going to get on base. Right? I'm not going to try to swing for the fences, hit 224 with 150 strikeouts and 40 home runs. I need to get on base. I am going to be that high on-base percentage guy. That's how you create income from trading. It's not about that, oh my gosh, I just made 165,000% on this one trade. That's once in a lifetime. To do this consistently, we're going to get on base. That's how this works, okay? Now, you've seen by flipping that switch from buyer to seller, you can stack the odds in your favor. Bruce, Brian, Mike, all did that. Now, we're going to stack the odds even further in our favor by understanding capitalizing on the 3 most common buyers, or what I like to call gamblers' mistakes. So mistake number 1 is that buyers choose unrealistic strikes. They choose strikes that are so far away, the stock has no chance of hitting it. Let me show you an example. Here's a stock. Let's say someone was bullish on the stock. They think the stock is going to go up, right? What they do as an options trader is they pick a strike price way above where the stock is, right? The stock's at $216. They go out to their broker and say, I'm going to buy a $230 call. Well, they buy them because they're very inexpensive, right? You can buy an option there for maybe 50 bucks. And they're all excited because, oh my gosh, I can control a $200 stock for 50 bucks. Well, the problem is you have a very poor probability of the stock rallying from 216 to 230. And the reason that's important is because that's really where you're going to make profits on this trade as an option buyer. People treat options like lottery tickets, and most of the time they lose, right? It's like the Mega Millions or the Powerball. I play it a couple times a year when the jackpots are high, right? It's a lottery ticket. I've never won the big jackpot, but I've won $2, $3 here and there, but I'm overall a net loser, right? That's kind of like using options as lottery tickets. Most of the time they lose. Every now and then you get a little bone thrown to you where it's not going to recover your losses, but it keeps you interested. What we're going to do, since there's buyers out there who are buying these options, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter why they're buying them. They might be doing it for valid reasons. Who knows? We are going to be the ones who sell them that option. Because that option has a low percentage chance of being hit. Now, when I say being hit, that means this. The stock would rally from 216 and it would hit the price of 230. Since it has a low chance of that price being hit, we have a high probability of winning. Now, it works the same for both directions. For puts, it's the same thing. There's people who go out there and the stock is at 216. They think it's going to go down, so they buy a $200 put. Or maybe they just simply think that they've got 1,000 shares of stock and they want to protect themselves by buying a put. Cool. Either way, I don't care. Since there's those buyers out there, I'm going to be the one that sells it to them. Okay? When we sell them those options, we give ourselves a 60 to 90% probability of success. Doesn't matter why they're doing it. The fact is they will do it and they will be sold to. We are going to be the ones that do it. Now, the second mistake, well, it's choosing expiration dates that are too close to the current date. It's like going to the grocery store and seeing a piece of steak on the discount rack because it expires today. Well, if you're going to go home and cook it tonight, that's great. Buy it. You got a deal. But if you're not going to cook it till next week, don't waste your money. It's going to rot by then. The same is true for options. What you're seeing here is a time decay graph. Options kind of have a built-in time decay, or a built-in self-destruct mechanism, if you will, right? As the option, this starts over here about 6 months from when the day the option expires. You can see the time value of the option start to get lower and lower and lower and lower until the day of expiration it reaches 0, right? Now, if you look at this, you're going to notice that I start over here at about 70 cents. That's 6 months from expiration. If I move forward about 135 days, we've lost about half of our value. After that 45-day area, option value tends to decline exponentially. I always, make a COVID joke. It's not really anything to joke about, especially for me this week. But, one good thing about COVID is that we've all become statisticians. We all know about logarithmic charts. We all know about exponential decay, exponential climb. We've all become statisticians, even those of us that, well, I can't say me. I've been statistician all my life. But for a lot of people that didn't know math and statistics, you've got a really good crash course in it over the last 2 years. What we are going to do is we are going to target this last 45 days of an option's life, and we are going to sell in that window. This is why we do it. Imagine you like the stock of Home Depot. I like the stock of Home Depot. In fact, I put a trade on Home Depot just today. If the stock, like where my little laser point is, let's say you think the stock's going to go up. What a lot of option traders will do, they'll open up their option chain and say, oh, it's March, so I'm just going to go out there and buy a March option, right? Expires in a couple weeks, but that's okay. It's all I really want. It's cheap. Or better yet, they say, well, I'll actually buy an April option. It's a little bit farther out there. Maybe it's 40 days to expiration. But the problem is, even if the trade works in their favor as an option buyer, the time decay is eating into that profit for them. Now, as an option seller, that time decay works for me. Even if that option buyer is right on direction, the time decay of the option is paying me profits. It's like a race for them, right? Time decay works in my favor as an option seller, okay? Now remember, there's always going to be people out there buying those options that have those expiration dates too close. We are going to be the sellers to them. Let them gamble. We'll be the casino because we win in the end. Now, the third mistake, and this one's a little bit more rare. A lot of people don't know this one. They don't train this to you a lot of times. They pay too much. They buy what's called an overpriced option. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. On the top of your screen, you've got two stocks. One is at 76.24, the other is at 76.36. So they're basically both around the same price. The options are both the same strike price with the same distance to expiration. But if you look, the option on the left is a $910 option. That's how much it would cost you to buy it. And over on the right, it would only cost you $180 to buy that option. Why? Because the option on the left has very high volatility. And that high volatility leads to the option being overpriced. Buyers of those options are paying too much. Now, what's the big deal, right? Ron, it doesn't matter. $900 is nothing. I got $1 million account. It's not about the dollar amount. It's about what that high price premium does to you as a trader. Let's pretend that the stock moves up $8 a share. So think about that. If you bought 100 shares of each of those stocks, the stock goes up $8, you just made $800 a piece, right? Okay, well, let's compare what happens to the options that you bought. Over on the left, had you bought that option, you would have lost money. Stock went up $8 a share, but you lost money. Now, over on the right, had you bought that option, you made almost a 400% return. Why did one option lose and the other option win? It's because the option on the left had high volatility and the buyer simply paid too much. Now, that's okay. We're going to take advantage of that Because what we're going to do as option sellers, we are going to seek that out and be a seller of those. We're going to find those juicy, overpriced premiums, and we're going to sell them. Why? Because the more premium, the more, and the high, I guess, make it easy. The higher price option that we can sell reduces the amount of money at risk. That's the beauty of this. We're going to seek out those high premiums. That allows you to stack probability even more on your side. Now, Bob has one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes that we talk about. And he said it cost him dearly. In fact, he said he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times. In his own words, came close to living under a bridge. The options paycheck system helped Bob turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn those liabilities, those mistakes, into strategies to control and stack probability. In 4 months, he grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Remember, in order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. Now, remember I told you guys you're going to use that chat window? Now's the time. Let me ask you, have any of you ever made those buyer's mistakes? Do me a favor, type yes or no in the chat box. I want to take a little drink here. It gives me a second to clear my throat. This is my 3rd class today, so my throat's starting to give out. All right. James, you were first online. Then I see Ben and Paul and Phil and Donald. You say totally. And Lucas and Jagan and Jason and Danny. Yep, all of them multiple times. Jason, Seth, Kathy, David. Now, a couple of you did say, by the way, that you've never traded options before. Well, that's good. Now you know what not to do. You're starting to learn, at least not make those mistakes. Now, listen. Everybody has made those mistakes. I've made them myself, okay? It's not our fault. We were just not taught the proper system. We were taught broken systems. Now you know, hopefully, that you want to be an option seller. So what we need to learn next is how to trade with very little risk. When a lot of people hear the word options, and even option selling, they start thinking it's risky. Options were actually created to hedge risk, by the way. The options paycheck system uses a very low risk strategy for selling options. It's why it's one of the core strategies we teach our retirees. Now, why is reducing risk important? Well, most people who don't use the options paycheck system aren't preserving their capital. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the horror story. Ron, I tried option selling 2 years ago. I took in 10 winning trades. I had 10 in a row, just like you said it was going to happen. And then one trade came in, wiped out all my winners, right? It's not their fault. They were taught a broken system of selling options. That's easy to fix. Don't take trades where that's possible. That's really easy, right? You know how you don't wreck your car? Keep it in the garage. You know how you don't take a loss that would blow out 10 winners? Don't take a trade where you can have that kind of loss. It's real easy to fix. When you have those catastrophic losses, it makes it hard to recover, right? It's a big, long time to recover those. In order to prevent that, we want to have a built-in protection plan, right? We want to take care of risk management before we open the trade. When I open a trade, I know exactly how much I'm going to lose, okay? And if it's too much, that trade would not be taken. Because by doing this, we can preserve and grow our capital. That's how it's all good. That's how it works. That's how it's good. Like I said earlier, right? Those home runs might look good for marketing material, but singles are what wins the game. Now, one of the most common questions I get is, hey Ron, can I trade this in my IRA? A client of ours, John, did that. He traded this in his IRA, and he said he grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using the paycheck system. He tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He learned to follow the system, turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. In 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than double the size of his IRA. And again, he said he spent no more than about 15 minutes a day doing this. So let's kind of show you how this works. The options paycheck system makes sure you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk, right? I'm not going to trade some crazy biotech company. We have very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are moving in the way of the market, right? Similar to what you see here. Then, instead of selling what's called a naked option, we sell with protection. So let me show you how this works. Traditional option selling systems leave you with all of this risk. In the unlikely event of the market melting down, what you think might only be a $500 risk, you may wake up the next day and found out you're down $5,000. You can't do that. That's not successful. That's not going to make you win. It's not going to give you income. What we do with the options paycheck system is we shrink our risk to this. Okay? So let's look at how this works. This, again, is a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's a beautiful graph. It's understandable to be bullish here. Traditionally, what do? You're bullish, you go out there and you buy 100 shares of the stock. Or maybe you buy a call, right? But you're not the buyer anymore. This is what you're going to do. In a bullish market, you are going to sell a put down here. Okay? When you sell the put, you get paid. When you sell anything, you get paid, right? In this example, we get paid $200 for every put that we sell. If I sold 10 options contracts here, I would get paid $2,000. Now that's great, right? Kind of. The downside here is this. If the stock drops massively, you are exposed to all this risk, right? That's because there's no downside protection in case the stock drops. So what we need to do is we need to have a built-in protection plan. Just like we do for our house, our cars, right? What do we do to protect our house in case of a fire? We buy insurance. When we sell that put and receive premium, we are going to use some of the premium and we are going to buy a put as an insurance policy. That way, if the stock makes a huge move against us, our insurance policy will cover our losses. Now, the cool part about this is we're going to sell that put to get $200. We're going to use it as an insurance to buy $100. We're still going to walk away from this trade getting paid $100. Now, if you do that on 10 contracts, you're going to get paid $1,000. Okay? That's the beauty of this. It's what's called a credit spread. This is a high probability trade, and the reason why it's high probability is this. Remember, we think that the stock is going to go up. If it does, we make money. If the stock goes sideways, we still make money. As long as the stock stays above, in this case $135 a share, we will still make money. And if the stock were to drop below 135, we exit our trade with a small proportional loss. All right? So, speaking of small proportional losses, let's do this. All right? I'm going to show you a few examples of some trades that I did with my clients to hopefully give you a better understanding of how to set them up. So, I'm going to be showing some numbers now and I'm going to be kind of doing a little explanation. So make sure you pay attention for this. All right. This is a trade that I did back in 2021, actually earlier this year, right? It was on Goldman Sachs. Now, I want to kind of illustrate how this kind of works, right? What I need to do, the stock is trading at $310 a share. I think it's going to go up. I need to strategically select a price below the current market to where I think that this stock won't drop to. Now, it's very easy to come in here and say, Ron, $265. That way, if it goes up, I make money. If it goes sideways, I make money. If it goes down, I make money at $265, right? It's very easy to say that. The problem with that is, all right, if you go way, way, way and add so much probability to the trade, this option down here may have a 95% chance of making you money. All right? The problem is this. You might make $50 when you win. You might lose $2,000 when the trade goes against you. Okay? Whereas if we did a trade right here, okay, that's a 50-50 trade, we might make $1,000 when we win, and we might only lose $500, okay, when we lose. 1,000 and win, 500 loss. So what we got to do is we got to find somewhere in here kind of a buffer, if you will, kind of a compromise. Something that's going to net me about a 70% chance of success. And the way that I like to trade is this. I can trade and let's say risk $500 or make $500 by only risking maybe $500. I want to find that compromise. Not too far out, not enough probability, but kind of right there in the middle. So let me ask you guys a question, kind of knowing the general idea of how this works. What do you guys think? Stock's at 310. What price below 310 do you feel would meet that compromise area? Open up your chat windows, type some prices in there. Manalos, you had mentioned 270. Morton, 295. David, 297.50. So you guys are like right in that area where I drew that. That's pretty good. 290, 290. A lot of 290s, just like rapid fire. 290, 295. A lot of you guys are right in there as well. Probably because that's where I drew that line, right? 295, 290. Eric, Dane, 290, 295. Carl, 297. Anthony, 195. I assume that means 295, Jason. Martin at 290. Now, here's where I actually did this trade. All right? I did the trade at 300. So I sold a $300 put, gave myself about $11 in room, and I bought a $290 as insurance. Now that trade, I made $390 on in 8 days, or a 9.3% return. Now when I say a 9.3% return, just so you understand what that means, let's say I had to put up $1,000 to take this trade. That means I made $93. That would be a 9.3% return on that trade. Okay? That's not my risk, mind you. That's just what the broker requires me to put up as collateral. So that's how I measure return on my investment. Now you can see right here on February 16th, I entered the trade and I got paid $1.57. On February 24th, I exited the trade for 79 cents. Now remember, you're an option seller here, so you got to kind of think of a few things, right? As a buyer, my goal is to buy for like $1 and have something go up to $2. That's a buyer. That's what you would want as an option buyer or a buyer. I'm a seller, so I want to sell something for $2 and have the price go down to $1. That's how I make money. I enter the trade and get paid $200. I exit the trade by paying $100, and I get to keep $100 out of that trade. So kind of remember, that's why the prices are kind of reversed on you here. All right. Now, again, knowing that concept, I'm going to show you another trade I took. This was on Tesla. Now, by the way, I look at longer-term graphs here of Tesla. These were all daily graphs. Tesla had a nice uptrend going, and in fact, had just broken resistance. So let's zoom in a little bit closer. Tesla's at $525. Now remember, what we've got to do is we have got to find that compromise. I can't just go down here and say, Ron, I think it needs to stay above 400. Great. And it has a really high percentage of doing that. But you're going to make $10 by risking 1,000. It's not going to work out in the long run. I need to find that compromise. Where do you think that compromise is? Get into that seller's mentality. I think it's going to go up, but I can make money as long as it stays above 500, 475. What do you guys think? All right, 475, James, you were first. 500, Steven. Jagan, you had mentioned 475. So you guys are like right down here in this 475 to 500 range. 450, 490, Gabriel. 500, 480, Jason. Ben, you mentioned the gap up makes you nervous. Nah, don't worry about that. 495, Terrence. 470, David. 490, Jason, you'd mentioned. 476, 465, things like that. All right, so here's where I actually did the trade. I did it at 480. Martin, you were close. You said 480. I did the trade at 485. So basically the stock's at 520. As long as it stays above $485, I can make money on this trade. So if it goes up, I win. If it goes sideways, I win. If it goes down, as long as it stays above 485, I win. If it drops below 485, I lose a proportional amount. Okay? So on this trade, all right, I did 8 contracts. I earned $195 per contract, or $1,500. In 2 days, I exited the trade. On November 23rd, I entered the trade for $1.95. On November 25th at 11 in the morning, I exited the trade for 85 cents. It was an $880 profit in 2 days. Okay, 36% return on my investment. And again, remember, the whole investment thing is if I had to put up $1,000 in collateral to take this trade, I made 360. That's kind of what I mean by 36% return. Now, also, again, understand, I don't want you to think that's the risk. That's not the risk on the trade. That's just how much I have to put up for collateral. All right? Now, another client I worked with is Jim. Prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent and he felt very unsatisfied. But he kept thinking there had to be something else out there that was better. Have you ever felt that way? That you're missing something. There's something more out there. He said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and provide more of a regular income and had a high probability of success. So after learning the system of being an option seller, he told me that he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in 8 months. And his average trade had only lasted 8 days. Can you imagine how that must feel to going from being inconsistent where all of your trades are generating income? Now, I want you to think back. Jim, Brian, Mike, Bruce. Look at what those guys did. What about you? What would an income system like this allow you to do? If you were able to reproduce their results, what could you do? Give me some ideas. What would that extra income allow you to do? All right, retire my wife. I love it. Move to Mexico and quit my job. I was thinking Costa Rica personally. Peace of mind, Ricky, you mentioned. All right, I see a lot of retire earlies. All right, student loans, that's another big one. Martin, I like your idea, go fishing. I always see a lot of student loans. I guess I feel lucky because I went to college like back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was still affordable. You know what I mean? But adding that second income approach is what makes this possible. And again, you saw people flip that switch and do it. All right? Now, we said before that buying is gambling and selling is about controlling risk and putting the odds of success in your favor. That's what helps you generate income, right? The Paycheck system makes sure that you have a guaranteed maximum risk. And again, it all goes back to that gambler or the casino. The house always wins. Option selling is the way to make consistent income. It's how we can do it safer than just simply buying and selling stocks. Now, I told you earlier, we're going to put this together and show you how you can have a bulletproof system, which you can do in as little as 15 minutes a day, just like our clients told you. And this is important because one of the big things that I get asked is how much time is it going to take? And really, it's a great question. So here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there. You got to find out how to pick the right one. The right strategy. When do you get in? What's the expiration? What price? What do you do if it goes against you? When do you get out with profits, right? People know that, but they can't find trades easily. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. And not because the trades are hard to find. It's just that there's so much information out there, you don't know what to separate. You don't know what's important and what's not. And that takes you a lot of time. You spend hours researching trades. You go from guru to guru looking for advice. Ultimately, you're trading blindly. It's like a mouse running through a maze. Without a system in place, you don't know where to go, and it's stressful and disheartening. But when you get the right system, you can identify those good trades, get the reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, to get that, you need a system, not just any system, a straight line system, a simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find your trades, how to set them up, and how to manage them. So let me walk you through the pieces of the Paycheck system in the order they go in. Now, no one else teaches option selling in this way. This is like the secret sauce, if you will. There's 6 pieces. The top 5 build on each other, and then that 6th will tie them all together. At the top of the system is market direction. A lot of traders ignore this, and they just go out and start placing trades. The market might be in the biggest bull market of all time, and they're trying to find stocks to sell. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish, bearish, or neutral in accordance with the overall market's direction. By doing this, you're narrowing your focus. You're not going to look at everything. Right now, the market's bullish. We're looking for bullish moves in stocks. We're only looking at one of 3 possible scenarios. Our Paycheck system has a timing signal built in that we use to tell us the market's direction. Now, once you know the direction of the market, you want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in that same direction. Just trading the stocks you know, listening to the gurus on TV, that's not the best choice. What you want to do is find good stocks already in uptrends when the market is rising, bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market's falling. Now, the Paycheck system saves a lot of time really in two ways. We look at two things, fundamentals and price trend. We have built-in searches in VectorVest, which we use instead of digging through data that institutions just throw at you. The next step is you want to find a way. You have those stocks now. Now we need to find the ones that are best for option trading. Remember what we talked about earlier? How big of a deal volatility was? I want to find the options that have the highest volatility. But we don't stop there. To take even more risk out of the trade, we filter out stocks that have upcoming earnings events. They're very unpredictable. We do not trade stocks with earning events imminent. Okay? We also make sure we're using the proper expiration to put that time decay to work for us. Now, you can use tools from a broker to help. We use a proprietary search tool which finds these candidates really in a matter of seconds. Now it's time to set up the trade. We pick the one that has the highest probability of success by picking the strike prices that give us the best possible credit but are also far enough away from the stock price that's going to give us a little chance of being a loser. We also, and this is very important, I talked about this a little bit, we want to make sure that the trade's risk to reward ratio is good. For instance, if I'm going to look to make $1,000 on my trade, generally speaking, I don't like to risk any more than about $1,500 on the trade. Okay? That's the general idea here. All right? Now, once we have the trade all set up, we need to know how to manage the trade. We need to know what to do if the trade goes for you or against you. I don't want you to be sitting in a trade and feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights. We're going to teach you how to take profits at a predefined level. I will show you a repair strategy that's optional. You don't have to use it, but can help you mitigate losing trades. And I will show you where to exit trades properly if they go against us. We will know what exactly to do when we're in the trade. And then finally, I told you the sixth kind of ties them all together. You want a way to do it quickly. You don't want to be spending all day on this process. So you need a tool that allows you to do these things, and it should be something you're comfortable using. Now, some brokers have tools that are better than others. You might find some paid tools to be very effective. I use a proprietary tool from VectorVest called Options Pro, and that saves me a lot of time. Now, earlier we talked about Mike and Jim and Bruce and Brian. Each of them is getting the results in about 15 minutes a day, and so is Hugh. Hugh was interesting because he told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and worked. He said that he did not want to be spending all his time in front of a computer. He didn't have the proper work-life balance. Are you like that too? You spend too much time on doing things you don't want to do and not enough time doing the things you want to? Now that Hugh learned the Paycheck system of selling options, he said he has more confidence and more free time, and he's able to have more fun. In his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over $26,000 in profits in 4 months. Again, going to being a seller kind of like flips that switch. So let's do this. Let's take your pen. I want you to look at the system. Put a little star next to the parts of your system where you're really, really good. So for example, if you have a quick way to find stocks likely to go in your direction of the market, put a star there. If there's an area where something isn't working or you need a little work or you still don't know how to do it, put a frowny face there. For example, if you don't know how to manage, repair, trade, put a frown there. Don't overthink it. Give yourself about 10-15 seconds and give yourself a star or frown. Now, I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. Now, share with me. Let me ask you guys, what areas do you personally need to work on? Go in that chat window. Let me know from where you're at, from your expertise, what part of the system do you need help with? All right. Jason, you were first. You said trade setup. David, you mentioned all of them, and that's cool. Stephen, all of them. Kathy, all of them. Kevin, all of them. A lot of alls, and there's nothing wrong with that. Selecting options, Anthony, Ed, Stock Finder, Gabriel, direction. Need to identify stocks. Paul, not hanging on to losers. Setup. Ben, James, manage. Tim, everything. Eric, repair. Now, here's what the deal is. We need to get it to where you have stars all the way down. And once you do, you will be able to generate income every month and do it in less than 15 minutes a day. So listen, I can't ignore, I don't know the exact reason that you came to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few educated guesses. Maybe you haven't really known what to do and you feel like you've been trading blindly, bumping into one wall into the next. It leaves you with inconsistent results, kind of like Jim had before he learned the options paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exactly exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. Now today I showed you the secret to fixing that. A secret again that I bet only 1 in 100 investors will ever know, and now you're one of them. You saw by flipping the switch to selling, it's possible to win even if you're wrong. By using insurance, you can do it with little risk, even less risk than buying and selling stocks. And you saw the system to get that consistent income each month. I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use this system every day so they never have to worry about their retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Remember, you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows this secret. That means there's 99 other people out there that will continue doing things wrong. They'll be buying options and making all those mistakes we talked about. Listen, we can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who will buy options incorrectly. Let them be the gamblers. As long as there will be gamblers out there, you might as well be the casino. Because remember the old saying, right? The house always wins in the end. The option paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor. Brian learned how to stack the odds in his favor and turned $6 grand into $23,000 in profits in 10 months. Just like Bruce did. Just like Bob, who went from being broke to a 71% ROI in 4 months. Jim, inconsistent to reliable income, 21 winners in a row. Hugh, more confidence, more free time, can have more fun, 26 grand in 4 months. In 12 months, John grew his IRA over 112% and enjoyed an 85% winning success rate. So if you're like most people, you're wondering, how do I implement this in my portfolio right now? Well, it comes down to a choice. It's always a choice, right? Option number 1 is you can do nothing. Do absolutely nothing and stay where you are right now. And if you have enough money to retire and you're not really worried about running out of money, then maybe you don't need the paycheck system. But if you'd like to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with 2 other options. Option 2 is you can do it alone. Try to learn how the option trades work. That's what Mike did, remember. Try to figure out the direction of the market, analyze thousands of stocks, figure out the option idea. If you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, and most importantly, learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. But option number 3, I call this the path of least resistance. Let me walk you through each piece of the paycheck system, and in just a few weeks, you'll have a simple system to follow that doesn't take a lot of time. So of those 3 options, ask yourself what's going to be easier. You know, there's 2 types of people. Person number 1 is someone who dreams about their financial goals but never really takes action or does anything to make it happen. That was kind of me when I was 24. Now, person number 2, you're serious about your financial future. You're ready to take action when you see an opportunity in front of you. Now, since you're dedicated enough to be with me to this point, I'm willing to bet you're person number 2. And that makes you the perfect candidate to get started on your first options paycheck. So let me tell you what we put together for you. First and foremost is our options paycheck course. This is the most complete option trading system that you will sign up for and that we teach. It is the entire system to generate income. Our clients who've taken this course are making an average of 3% per month. Some guys like Bruce and some guys like Hugh who trade a little bit more heavily, they can go up to 5 to 15% with that 80% success rate. It's taking them less than an hour per week. When I say it is a complete course, I mean it. We are going to teach you option foundations. You're going to know exactly how calls and puts work so you know how to confidently use them in your trades. In modules 2 and 3, I'm going to teach you how to profit from bullish, bearish, and neutral markets. Module number 4, I'm actually going to show you how to find good stocks for this, market direction, index trading. So I'm not just going to teach you an option system and say good luck finding trades. I'm going to show you what to look for a trade. Module 5, this is where we set up and maximize the trades, the premium that we collect, how volatility affects these trades, setting up and maximizing our chance of success. Module 6, take away the deer in the headlights. We're going to teach you how to manage your trades properly. Know when to get in, at what price, when to get out, where to adjust your trades. We're also going to teach you portfolio management. How many contracts should you trade? How much should you risk per trade? All that important stuff about trade management. And then finally in Module 7, we're going to teach you the broker side. Now, we can't teach you every single broker out there, but I'm going to teach you the common broker terms that you can look for to place these trades properly. Now, as a beginner, a lot of people find value in having a checklist, a very organized set of rules written down where they can go line by line by line to set up their trades. Well, we give that to you. You get that in the Options Paycheck course. That way there's no ambiguity, there's no guesswork. Follow the rules, follow the list. Okay? That's the beauty about what we do. It's a mechanical, rule-based approach. Now, before I talk about the price, I want to make this even more low risk for you. I offer a 100% money back guarantee on the course. You can go through the entire course, and if you're not satisfied we taught you how to profit using options, then you can get your money back. It's no risk. But you got to do the work though, because we know if you do, you will see results. If you don't do the work, you won't be eligible for a refund. Now, the reason I have such a tight refund policy because I only want to attract those who are incredibly excited to jump in and do the work to get the results. I want to attract serious investors, and in order to do that, when I make a really tight refund policy like this, it helps me attract serious people. So when I say you have to do the work, that just means you have to do the assignments, do the recordings, watch the videos. If you're not satisfied after that, I'll give you a refund. It's not that hard. You just have to do the course basically. When you do the system, you're going to be learning something that can generate 3% per month. That's 36% per year. And remember, it doesn't take a lot of time to do it every week. I got this email in late 2000 from one of our clients, Joe. And I like this email for, well, number one, I like hearing about success. But number two, 2020 was a very rough year for a lot of traders. He made a lot of money in 2020. He said, Ron, I'm writing to thank you for teaching the Paycheck course. I took your class last fall, that would be late 2019, and wanted to let you know my results for the past 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade. I've resulted in 239 trades out of 350, a 68% winning rate, and he's profited over $100,000 in that time. What's more exciting is that as his knowledge and experience has grown, he's kind of limiting his risk reward a little bit, and he's profited over $50,000 in the last 6 weeks. His success rate has bumped up to 78%, and over the last 100 trades, he takes 2 to 1 or better only. I want to thank you for teaching this simple but effective system. Now, I will tell you this. Joe trades more than I do. I probably take 120 to 140 trades a year. He was taking a lot more than that, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. There's no amount of trades that you can kind of cap yourself to if you want to spend the time doing it. Now, let me ask you a question. If I told Joe in late 2019, Joe, give me $2,000, all right, and I'll give you 100, would he take that trade? Would you take that trade? Well, I'm going to be making you even a better trade here that you're going to see. Now, before I tell you any more about it, I want to point something out. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? It's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. It's serious and requires some effort on your part. So if you can't commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you right now. This is for serious people who take their investing seriously and are willing to put in time to learn the system. So if you're serious about this and ready to do the work and get the results, then the Options Paycheck course is perfect for you. You're going to get the entire course delivered to you live each week. Plus, you'll get recorded sessions. Okay? That's a $1,990 value. So when I said $2,000, that's what I mean. Now, I'm also going to throw in some bonuses. One of the things that my clients really love is what I call the SPX Paycheck. It's one trade on one ticker symbol, one setup rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. It's a simple and easy to do trades. Most of the trades I did during the coronavirus collapse last year, in fact, were S&P trades, and it was very easy to make money. Okay? For many of my students who are still working, this is the only system that they use, nothing else. And they're generating 3% per month. Just like Kathy, she posted this on our Facebook income group. Hey, October 13th, just 7 days ago. Ron, bear call spread this week, in at 440, out at 215, another profitable week. Same with Cherry. 44.25, 44.35, October 22nd bear call credit spread came in yesterday, 50% profit. I think I'm getting this stuff. I love this one. This is from Alan. Thanks for the $5,500 and the week's not over. He placed 4 trades and made $5,500. Now, this week, we actually placed a bull put trade because we thought the market was going to go up, and all of our trades hit profit today. So we're out for the week now. Now, that's one of the most popular things that I teach. A lot of people that are working love the SPX because it's only one trade that they have to look at. Now, in addition to the course, I'm going to give you 7 live mastery support sessions. I'll be there every week to help you implement and guide you through the entire process. So if you can't make those sessions, it's not a problem. Submit your questions ahead of time, and we will send you a recording of the session. Everything we do is recorded, so never fear missing something. You won't, I promise. Now, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on Facebook. I do as well. We do have a private Facebook community that's dedicated to people going through the course. It's where I do 12 months of live Q&A. If you don't like Facebook, if you think that Mark Zuckerberg is stealing all your information, you're probably right. All you need to do, create an account under an alias, Joe Q Trader. Use an email address from Gmail or Proton Mail or something, and go in there anonymously. Be a part of our community. We're cool with that. It's just a place that you can go and work with people that are going through the course at the same time. Now, another bonus is 7 weeks access to my members-only group coaching. I do something here called the Ultimate Retirement Solution. I have a group of coaching students who we do this with every week with real money. Okay? Every week I go through there, make trade recommendations. We talk about how to manage the trades in real time. Those trades on Tesla and Goldman Sachs I showed you, those were taken from my group coaching. You're going to get access to that during the 7 weeks of the options paycheck. I am also going to give you the tools for speed and efficiency. These are not 100% required, but it will give you a platform to learn these things as we go through the course. Both VectorVest 7, Options Pro, these are the most efficient tools that we use to find and set up these trades. So if you don't have these tools, we will start them for you on the first day of class. A subscription to VectorVest and also a subscription to Options Pro. Both of those together will help make this a little bit faster and easier to implement. Now, for those of you, and a couple of you had said that you were not familiar with options and you've never traded them, what we've done is we've designed a quick walkthrough course called the Options Foundation. You do this virtually, you do it online, and if you're new to options and you want to brush up on the basics, take this Options Foundation course. You can start it as soon as tomorrow if you want to. That way, when we start the live paycheck course in November, guess what? You'll be up to speed, hit the ground running, and you'll have a basic working knowledge of options to get you started. And again, that's included in the price of the class, the paycheck class. In fact, a couple of our previous attendees who had not traded options took the foundation course before the paycheck started. They're like, hey, I just made my first 7 option trades in my life, 5 winners and 2 losers. Bobby paid for half the course. I don't recommend trading with real money, but sometimes these guys do it, and that's fine. He paid for half the course fee. So let me kind of go through the offer again. The full options paycheck training course taught live, plus you'll still have 1 year access to all the materials. The SPX paycheck, the 7 live mastery support sessions, the weekly coaching and trade recommendations, access to the software that we use, VectorVest and Options Pro, the Facebook group and 12 months of Q&A, and the Options Foundation course. Add all that up, it's like a $6,800 value. So here's the opportunity in front of you. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and work with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. If you choose to be one of them, together we'll create an income system in your portfolio, even if you've never had success with options. Now, you've spent about an hour with me today. So if you want to join me and have me take you by the hand and help you install this in your portfolio, then instead of that $6,000, the early bird price of the course is only $995. You can go to www.optionspaycheck.com. There's a big orange register button in the upper right-hand corner. Make sure you click that, and you can sign up today. Now, one more thing. I'm going to give you kind of what we call a fast action bonus. You spent about an hour and 10 minutes with me, so I want to pay you for your time. If you order before the end of the webinar, instead of paying $995, We'll knock it down to $8.95. That is the lowest price that you will ever pay for this course unless you're retaking it again. You're going to get the full course, 1 year of access to the materials, 7 mastery support sessions, software, bonus module for the SPX, Facebook, group coaching, options foundation course, all that for $8.95. That price is only good though while we're broadcasting. So go to www.optionspaycheck.com, click the register button in the upper right hand corner and get signed up. And you ask yourself, what will it cost you not to do this? How much money will you lose by learning by trial and error? How much potential profit are you going to miss out on? How much time and energy are you going to waste trying to do this on your own? We already have it in place for you. Ask yourself how things would be different if you did it and it works, like Bruce and Brian and Mike and Jim. You know, there's an old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago. So now you can be sitting under enjoying the shade. That second best time is today. It's not too late. In 5 years, I don't want you looking back and saying I should have planted that dang tree. This is one of those deciding days. Are you going to take action, set yourself up for secure retirement, or are you going to look back and say, darn it, I should have started in 2021? Set yourself up for a successful and profitable 2022. I hope you don't make and regret this decision. Don't miss the opportunity. I look forward to working with you and getting this implemented. So again, go to www.optionspaycheck.com. Get yourself all registered before the registration closes. Remember, the $8.95 is only available while we're live on the webinar, so it's lower than even our elite pricing. So if you've never taken the Options Paycheck class before and you want the lowest price, right now is the one to find it. After the webinar, it goes to $9.95, so don't wait or you'll miss out. www.optionspaycheck.com. Click the big orange register button and fill in your details. Now, if you know that this is right for you, if you're joining me, do me a favor. Type words in the chat when it says I'm in, because we'd love to welcome you to class by name. Now, I do see in the background, I don't understand this question. I really don't. When are the live sessions? Why do you guys want to know when the live sessions are? No, seriously. This is a very common question, right? We're selling a live course. Well, Ron, when is it? What if I miss a session? Well, let me first tell you this. Don't worry about missing live sessions. I would say about 30% of the people who take the Options Paycheck course don't actually even come to live sessions. They just learn it week by week, going through the recordings of what we have of our sessions during the week, okay? So don't worry about missing one. However, if you want to go through this week by week with us, class number 1 is Thursday, November 4th. It starts at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now remember, if you can't make it, it's not a big deal. You can watch the recordings, you can email us questions, you can put them on Facebook, whatever you want to do. We've got you covered. Then on November 9th, a Tuesday, you can see that our schedule shifts to Tuesdays for the rest of the course. So Module 1 is Thursday the 4th at 4:30. Module 2 is the 9th at 4:30. That's Eastern Time, p.m. And then you can kind of see going through the remaining Tuesdays, the last class is December 14th. Now those live mastery sessions, the first one of those is Monday the 8th. And the mastery sessions, by the way, are pretty important because what we do is we teach you the live module, then a couple days later we get back together, give you some time for that to kind of sit with you, and then we answer questions on it. We want to make sure that you're ready to implement every step as we teach it. Okay, so our first mastery session is on Monday the 8th at noon p.m. or noon Eastern Time, not p.m., noon Eastern Time. And then Friday the 12th, that's our Module 2 mastery session. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those are all at noon Eastern Time. I put them at noon because I like to use real live market data when I can. Now, Bruce had a great comment he sent us recently. He said, I now feel confident to start placing trades. I know exactly how to monitor them. I can adjust them, and it's exactly what I wanted. And I thought this was the best part. I would absolutely recommend this course. It was designed in a very orderly and clear manner. It might be the best step-by-step course I've ever seen. I've been teaching investing concepts for 35 years, so I think I'm a good judge. This course, the reason why it's so good is because you had 2 experienced people putting this course together. One was an options guy, me. The other was my original co-pilot, Brian. Brian was a school teacher. Brian knows how to teach. I know how to trade. Put us both together, it comes up with a pretty darn good course. Now, Another question we get a lot is how much options experience do I need? We have polled our graduates, and 83% of them said you can be successful with little to no prior options experience. But Ron, what about the 17%? That's why we added the option foundation curriculum. That way, you at least have a little bit of ground floor training before that live curriculum starts. So we got you covered either way. Okay, we got you covered. But feel comfortable that the majority of our graduates said you can be successful with a little to no prior experience. So if it's something you're interested in, www.optionspaycheck.com, click that big orange register button in the upper right hand corner. Make sure you get signed up. Let us know you're in. I always like to see who I'm going to be working with for the next couple of months here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my colleague, Brian. Remember I told you that I had a colleague, Brian, who was also a teacher and kind of was my co-pilot on this when we created it. I'm going to bring Brian in right now, and he and I are going to kind of follow up and do some question and answers that you guys might still have for us.
Hello, Ron.
Hey.
Hey, man. Lots of excitement in the chat box. This is intense.
Excellent. That's what I like to see or hear.
Yeah, so we got a lot of people saying I'm in. We got a lot of questions to go through, so this is going to be a great Q&A, I think. Oh, and by the way, somebody had reminded me earlier, actually before I even get into any of the questions or anything, people were saying, don't forget about that PDF. So give me just a second. I will put that PDF into the handouts area of GoToWebinar. It takes a second to upload, and there we go. So those of you who are sticking to the end for that PDF, we appreciate it. That is, if you right above where you would be typing us a message, there is a link or a PDF. It's in the handouts area. You could download it right away. And thank you for being here today and sticking to the end. But Ron, lots of on-ins. The ones I could see, some of them flew off my screen here, but I got 2 Davids in a row. We got David C, David G, Danny C. We've got Safayette. We've got Martin. We've got Randy, who took the class almost when we first created it about 4 years ago. He says, I want to get back in. So he's calling next week. He's going to come back in. So we got a lot of am-ins. All of you who are in, and I might have missed a few, check your email, because there is an email that we would have sent immediately, and it has all the details in it. It's got a link to the Facebook group. It's got the directions to the course. It's got the dates and the times of all of the live sessions. It's got everything that you need as far as the logistics of this course are in that email. So check it out. It should be in your inbox. If it's not there, check your junk or your spam folder, because it's probably there, and check that out. So Ron, thanks for showing the dates and the times of the live sessions. That actually helped answer several of the questions that I had flagged for later. We might even need to come back to those, because sometimes people need to check those again. So some questions, Ron, of those things that you showed there. Is it necessary to actually come to all of those live sessions?
Not at all. Like I said, we actually record everything that we have. So you don't need to come to the live sessions at all if they don't meet your criteria or meet your schedule. That's one of the things about scheduling classes. Nobody is ever, we never find like the perfect time for everybody. So we make sure that we archive everything, record everything, and you are good to go if you can't make the live courses. Don't worry about that at all.
All right, fantastic. All right, so next up, we've got from Noor, says, about how long are each of those classes?
They are anywhere from about 60 to 90 minutes. So I always say schedule yourself for about 3 to 4 hours a week. In that 3 or 4 hours, it's going to give you time to watch the recordings or watch the live session if you'd like to. Okay. And then what it's also going to do is it's going to give you time to do the assignments, maybe watch some of the walkthrough videos, all that stuff that you might need to do. So, give yourself 3-4 hours a week. The individual classes are usually about, 60 to 90 minutes long.
All right. I actually think that also answered two more questions from Jagan and Terrence. Jagan specifically just said, what is the time commitment per day? And actually, I'm going to come back to that one in just a second. But Terrence also said, what amount of time investment required per week? I've got a full-time job. So I'm going to actually phrase those a different way. Instead of saying how long are each of the classes, how about like after somebody finishes the course, Ron, if somebody were to implement this system on a daily/weekly basis, how little or much time is required?
Once you get things down, I mean, honestly, you can trade some of our early S&P income approaches in 15 minutes a week. You could spend a couple hours a week if you really wanted to. It's completely up to you, but you can really implement this in just a couple hours a week. It's not that difficult.
All right. Next up, we had a couple of people ask about their account size. And I think you and I feel the same way about this. I'm always hesitant to say the minimum account size, but there's a bare minimum of what is needed to place these trades, which is actually kind of small. But then do you have a recommended account size that you would recommend?
Sure. I mean, number one, I want you guys to be realistic. You can open up an account for $5,000 and start trading this. You can trade one contract of the S&P, maybe a stock here and there. And listen, you can make 150, 200 bucks a month. That's at 3% return. I would say if somebody wants to say, okay, Ron, great, I can open up an account for $5,000, awesome. But what do you really recommend? What should we really have to make this work? I would tell you an account of about $25,000 is a good starting point. That way, you can trade a little bit of stocks, you can trade a little bit of indexes. It gives you some flexibility to put on different trades of different types. So I would say, 25,000 is a good round starting number. But you can trade one contract of the S&P and one trade here and there for as little as $5,000, really.
All right. See, Steven says, I just checked my university page. I'm in. He's got like a whole bunch of exclamation points and a smiley face. So that's awesome to see. And Gabriel, I'm going to mess that up. Says, I'm in. So welcome to you. And by the way, so we already mentioned this, but the $8.95 rate is only available while we are live. Right, so that $8.95 rate, that is lower than our elite pricing here at VectorVest. That is only available while we're live. Once we're done here, give us a couple of minutes. We and our tech team will be switching things around. It'll go back up to the $9.95. I mentioned earlier, we have like Randy and some others have taken this class years ago. They wanted to get back in for a refresher. We would have, if you have taken this class before, we would have sent you an email telling you about a refresher rate, which is like $4.95. And so check your email, or you could just call our office and talk to somebody over the phone. We'll put our phone number in the chat. It's just 888-658-7638. And talk to somebody and say, hey, I'm interested in the refresher rate of this course. That way you kind of get back into the groove. Because there's a gentleman said, hey, I took the course 3 years ago. It was great, but I just haven't done much trading in the past few years. And some people are like that. You just kind of take a break and you just want to get back into things, and you just give us a call and we'll get you all set up. All right. Let's see. I'm seeing a few people who are saying that when they're placing the order, they're having some issues placing the order. I would say, I don't know what could be going on. Sometimes there might be an internet issue, but I think it's as you go through when they're going through the processing, but this is where you would go, optionspaycheck.com. Click the Register Now button. You'll see that it currently shows the discounted rate. And then you hit Purchase Course Now. When you hit Purchase Course Now, it'll bring you to a page, and it should have, was it, Ron? Did you already click on that? Let's see. It should either have a spot where you could either create a brand new account sometimes, or username and a password to sign in. So let's actually see what will happen to us when we go there. There we go. All right, so it brings you to this page, and there's a proceed to checkout. You'll see it says $8.95. When you hit proceed to checkout, I think the next screen, Ron, is where it'll. So here's a complete. Oh, I guess you're an employee account. So
I guess I was still logged in or something.
Yeah. All right. So when you click that next button, that's where it'll ask you to either create a brand new account or sign in with your existing account. So that would be the process. And if you need anything, call our office with the phone number I put in the chat box. All right. So next up, Proc, it looks like we already answered your question, because you're asking about how much money do you need to get started. So I appreciate that question. David is asking, hey, Ron, do you think I should transition from my regular stock trading, where I say I have about 20 stocks in my account, to do just option trading?
I don't know about that. I mean, I definitely would make this a good part of what you do. I think there's a place for both of them, to be honest with you, because I do that a little bit too, where I have about 5 or 6 stocks that I trade back and forth. But I always think there's a good place for both of them. But you certainly can. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but I would tell you to diversify a little bit too.
All right. And Ron, can somebody do this in a retirement account?
Good question. And I will tell you this, the majority of retirement accounts, IRAs, I have seen allow this type of trading. However, there are a few out there that people get back to me and say, hey, Ron, I tried this in my IRA. They said I can't do it. I would always tell you to call your broker just to make sure. But the majority of accounts that I've seen, IRA accounts, will allow you to do this type of trading.
All right. Next one from Alan is actually going to require you to go back a couple of slides. So he just wanted to double check the dates again. So if you could show that slide again. He says, when are the live? Now he says in-person sessions. Just remember, Alan, we're not doing in-person where you actually have to fly to a hotel. They're all going to be webinars just like this. But Ron, I think you got them up again on the live dates and stuff.
Yeah. So the modules itself, they start Thursday, November 4th at 4:30 Eastern Time, p.m. And then they shift to Tuesday for the remainder of the course. Okay. So 4:30 p.m. for the modules, and then noon Eastern Time for the mastery sessions. And the first one starts on November 8th. Then for the remainder of the course, they go to Friday all the way through to December.
All right. Now, we had a couple of people, Walter, and I missed the other one, asking for that PDF again. If you're looking for the PDF, right above where you typed into that chat box, GoToWebinar should have a section that says handouts. And if you open up the handout section, you will see a PDF that's titled 5-Step Income Trading Checklist. And if you just click on it or tap on it, it should download the PDF for you. So Walter, check that out. You should see it in that handouts area. And William, you were the other gentleman who was asking for that PDF. All right. Now we had a couple more people. Mark says, I'm in, and he typed out the word excited in all capital letters. He says, I'm in and I'm excited. We got Anthony who says, I am in. So welcome to both of you. Next up, Ron, is if somebody is from outside of the U.S. I see somebody who's from Australia is here. Somebody, Michael, is from the U.K. Barrio is also from Australia. Is this something that people from outside the U.S. can do as well?
Definitely. Now, everything that I teach you is applicable to any options that trade anywhere in the world. Now, a lot of, all of our material is going to be U.S. based. So you'll see, examples of U.S. options markets, but you can do this with any options exchange anywhere in the world. One thing I will tell you is that, as you go, like Canada has quite a few options that have the liquidity now needed. The UK, Australia, it's going to be dependent on option liquidity. The US, of course, has the most, but the analytics that we teach are universal to any exchange.
Oh, we got more great questions in here. Paul's like, I'm in. Let's make some money. That's awesome. And let's see. Balaram, I saw your question a moment ago. He says, how would this system help folks who already know about selling options?
Mainly just about kind of putting it all together. So selling options is just one small part of making income, right? That's the kind of the option part of it. But this kind of puts it all together. Good risk reward, good management of your money, good stock selection, market selection, maybe expose you to some index trading that you've never done before. So it's kind of a full-fledged, not just selling an option, but kind of a full approach to finding good options income trades. That's kind of what I would think about that.
Yep. And the other thing to consider is we don't, Balaram, I assume you're already experienced and good, but we've talked to other people who might say, I already know about options, but they don't know the right system. They kind of, like Ron said, they know what. Remember earlier in the webinar, Ron, you were talking about the mistakes people make.
Yep.
Those mistakes are made by people who already know options. Right? So there's people who know options but don't trade them well. So Ron does a great job of saying, all right, this is how to trade options in a systematic, step-by-step way successfully. All right. All right. So Ron, we've got a lot of great interest in these questions here. I'm going to go back to Barrio from Australia. He says, time difference is a pain as New York is really early morning hours for us in Australia. Can I use this system still?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're still, again, it depends on which exchanges that you trade on. If you're going to trade on the US exchanges, obviously it's going to be a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, you could again do this with Australian options. There's a few options out there that you can trade easily in your time frame. So yeah, definitely.
All right. And Jagan says, can I use TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim as I have a large account there?
Not only can you use them, I vastly recommend them. I use them too. So yeah, they're my favorite broker.
This is a cool one from Terrence. Terrence says, can you estimate as to the time frame that it would take the average student to be confident to place an option trade safely?
I mean, once you get done with the 7 weeks of the course, I like to think, and this is of course based off of, prior polling of our clients, they're pretty much ready to go right then. Mainly because we give you kind of a checklist to follow. So you don't have to really worry about, subjective things. You have everything right in front of you that you need. I always tell people that, once you go through the course, the biggest hurdle is really the broker side if you've never traded options, because, you might not be familiar how to place an order. We're going to teach you as much as we can about doing that, but really, I mean, we teach you from the ground floor up. I think you're going to be, really ready to go right away.
All right, and we had a few more while we're here. Let's see. Ben says, Ron, this has been a great eye-opener. It's pretty and very understandable. My account size is below any meaningful stab at the course right now, but this has been one of those things on my mind going forward. Who knows, he says. And so thank you for sharing that, Ben. We actually had, Ron, one of our the people we talked to for a case study, we were talking to him for about an hour, and he was so pumped up. He's like, I've been doing this for months. I think it was 7-8 months. And he was talking about the percentage winners that he's had. And then it came out, he's like, yeah, I started out with a $5,000 account. I was like, what? So, I mean, he started with below let's just say the lower end of the range. Is that a fair statement, Ron?
Right.
on the lower side. But, he saw this as an investment in his future. And those of you who also have larger accounts, you could start with a small amount and just test it out with like one contract, just to kind of get used to the logistics too of placing trades and getting comfortable in a low risk way.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think of it like, even if you don't have a ton of money to put into it now, right? It's like college. You don't go to college because you expect the return on your investment in the first year you enter the working force, right? It's an approach that you get over the long haul. Same with this, right? If you have a $5,000 account, are you going to make your investment back in the first 3 weeks? No, you're not going to. If you do, well, you probably were trading with too much size anyway. But if you do, great, I guess. But it's more about you're learning how to do something that as you build your assets and build your account up, you can start doing more and more and more.
All right, we had a question from Martin. He wants to know, are the sessions recorded?
Yes, everything is recorded that we do. So there's never something that you'll miss and say, hey, Ron, you did that live session on Tuesday and I can't see it. It's there. Ron, I missed the mastery session. No big deal. It's there. So everything that is options paycheck pertinent is recorded for you, so you don't have to worry about missing it.
All right. And Darren, let me grab yours. You're asking, if you sign up and then you later find out, and maybe you'll find out tomorrow or the next day. You call your broker, and maybe you're not able to do these trades in your specific IRA. Let's say, like in Canada, let's say, I don't know if you're in Canada, but like the RRSP, I don't believe they allow these trades. If you find that out, we're very flexible. Like we have that, like you said, the money back guarantee. We'll take care of that. So just don't wait 2 months and then say, oh, by the way, I'm not able to do this. Do your due diligence, find out and then just let us know. All right, next up, Ron, is David. David has been trying out the VectorVest system for the last few days. So he's on a trial of the VectorVest. And he says, is the market timing and the color guard for market timing, is that used in option trading as well?
We do. Now, I'm going to teach you how to do it with VectorVest, but then I'm also going to teach you how to do it without VectorVest. So yes, we do implement things like the color guard. We do implement some of the timing systems in VectorVest. But again, I'll also show you how to do it without that too. So one of my goals is I want to make sure that whether you keep our software or you don't keep our software at the end, you are still able to implement this type of income trading. I'll kind of share with you guys my story, right? I've been trading options for probably about 15 years, okay? I've worked for VectorVest now for almost 7 years. That means that I've been trading options for 8 years before I came to VectorVest. I created this system and the concepts of what I do here pre-VectorVest. So I was trading and using this type of approach even before I got a hold of VectorVest and Options Pro. Now I've got stuff built for me that works perfect for this and speedy and efficient stuff, but you don't necessarily need those tools to be successful. They make it easier, don't get me wrong, but they're not mandatory. I teach you how to do it with and without.
All right, man, we still got some nice questions from, let's see, Terrence, Jagan, Martin, William. So William just says, thanks for a great session. And he's going to be ducking out. So thanks for being here, William. Walter says, I still can't find that PDF file. I'm not sure what to say, Walter. If you're in GoToWebinar, in that control panel where you're typing to us, there should be a section for handouts. That's the only way I can really get you this PDF file. It is in the handouts area of GoToWebinar. Wherever you're, are you using a cell phone to attend today's session?
Kind of looks like
are you using it
where it says handouts? Oops, wrong one. Where it says like polls and I don't know if it says polls for you guys, but it says handouts 1 to 5. And it's like right there.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like on our end. Yours will look similar. It might not say, well, yours won't say polls, right? Like Ron just said.
Yeah. So
check it out again there, Walter. Keep digging around in there. Darren, yes, Darren was a gentleman who was saying, "Can I get the refund?" He uses TD Ameritrade. I'll say this: we've talked to brokers. We have one of our close relationships here. Is a gentleman who works at Ally Financial, and we were talking to him about setting up trading accounts. What the process is, and the long story short is he's like, tell people if they have questions to call us. Not just Ally, but to call the broker, because as a broker, and so he's speaking as the broker, and I assume the same is true for TD Ameritrade. They want you to get in there and be using their software and their platform successfully. So he said, tell them to call. We will help them get set up. We will show them what to do, but call. So that's what I would recommend, Darren. Don't spend forever digging around on the website. You can always call. And speaking of that, Ron, speaking of money back guarantee, Walter, instead of having me say this and hearing my voice some more, he said, hey, Ron, what is that money back guarantee again?
All you really need to do is go through the course. So watch the modules, whether it's the recording or the live. Watch the masteries, whether it's the recording or the live, and then show us that you've done some of the assignments, just so we know that you're trying to make this work. That's all. If you try to make it work by viewing, doing some of the assignments, all you got to do is tell us, hey, it's not working for me. I tried. Here's what I did, and we'll give you a refund. It's as easy as that. We're never going to go back to you and say, well, you didn't try hard enough. It's nothing like that. All
right, Taryn says, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we just don't want to be like Costco sometimes where, I just didn't like this Christmas tree and you take it back on like January 3rd. You know what I mean? So A little bit of want to make sure you're doing it, but nothing to where it's like we're going to make you prove it. We're going to come to your house and make sure that you actually did the work.
All right, Terrence says, as far as earning more, and he put that in quotes, Ron. He says, as far as earning more based on size of account, by that, is it meant that you make larger trades or just have the flexibility to place more trades? He says, is it more time investment to find those safe option trades?
It's both, really. You can make less trades with larger size. You can spread out to more trading opportunities with smaller size. Personally, I'm more of the trade less with more contract size. That's what I like to do. I don't like to have, 15, 20 trades going. I'd rather take 5 trades at a larger size and do it that way. But honestly, you can do it either way. You can save it for more, more trading opportunities, or you can just double up your contract size basically, or triple up. As long as it's within the risk tolerance that we teach in Module 6.
All right, and Jagan says, if one is already quite knowledgeable on options trading, including verticals, do I have to go through all of the classes?
Not really. I mean, it's definitely good to go through them to see how we kind of teach it. I will tell you that. But, you can just go, you can concentrate more on the trade management or how we do our trade management. You can do the stock, stock placement, things like that. It's up to you. I would still recommend that you kind of go through everything. Module 1 might be, well, even Module 1 is still pretty good because we talk about the concepts of how we choose probability and things. So it's up to you. You can kind of plow through them and see how they go and see, and you can fast forward, watch movies, watch the videos 2 times speed. It's up to you.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that you can watch it at a faster speed. And Ron, you and I were actually talking about this yesterday or the day before, and how this is not just an options course. Like, this is not a course where we're like, this is what a spread is. And like, that's not what like the modules are. This is a course teaching you an income system
Right.
that happens to do that through option spreads.
Exactly. I
So,
mean, learning how to find the right stocks, how to take into account market direction, how to find stocks, what to look for in a stock, all that stuff that's kind of, again, at a full system event.
yep. So I would recommend watching those beginning modules too, modules 1, 2, 3. Because Ron mixes in there not just what the trade is, but how he teaches it. Like, this is how we're doing this trade. So don't. I mean, you're investing in the course, right? I mean, you might as well get the most out of it. Let's see. What's it? David says, I've been trading a lot of covered calls over the last couple of years. Is that similar to the seller that you've been talking about in today's webinar?
Kind of. I mean, a covered call is a very basic version of doing something like this, except with ours, you're not ever going to buy stock. We're going to be using totally options, but it's kind of in that token of, selling a call and, you're selling the right to buy your stock later. And it's kind of like an entryway into being a probability trader, yes.
And John noticed that in the PDF that we handed out, it focuses on the bullish trades. But Ron, you could do these trades in when the market's going down too, right?
Absolutely. Bullish or bearish, we don't really care. I mean, we trade a lot more on the bullish side because that's the way the market typically moves. But yeah, when that market breaks down, we sell too. I showed you guys some of those S&P trades that some of our clients made over the past couple of weeks. We were doing bearish trades for like the last 4 weeks. And then just today, or actually I should say just this week, we switched back to bullish as the market came back around.
All right. Cecilia says, I'm in. I purchased already. Awesome. Welcome to the group. And so we got Terrence, Paul, and a couple other ones. So Terrence says, what's the learning curve for getting things set up with the broker, Ally, or TD Ameritrade once you're familiar with the process of placing the trades?
It's not too bad, but one thing I would definitely tell you, reach out to the brokers and talk to them too. I actually have a couple of videos that I include with the options paycheck for, kind of using Thinkorswim from TD Ameritrade. I don't really have anything for Ally because I don't have access to their account. But the big thing is the broker wants to help you. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent on the phone with TD Ameritrade and their help desk kind of navigating their platform back in the day. Honestly, I'm going to give you a lot of steps to what to look for in the brokerage software, but it's not really that hard. And their support team, you'll have an exact idea of what to look for, and you can say, "Hey, I'm looking for this. Where do I find it?" So I don't think it's that difficult because we give you a lot of the keywords and phrases and things to look for in the different brokerage applications.
All right, we had two people again wanted to know the dates and the times. So we have Raymond says, "Can you show the schedule again?" And Paul says, "What are the dates and the times of the presentations?"
Okay. So again, the live course modules, that's like the module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, starts on Thursday, November 4th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then module 2, that we move to our Tuesday schedule, Tuesday, November 9th at 4:30. And then the remaining classes on Tuesdays, module 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then our mastery support sessions, the live ones, we start with our first one on Monday, November 8th at noon. Those are all Eastern Time again. And then we switch over to Friday for the mastery session of modules 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all Fridays at noon.
Ash says, "I'm in." Welcome to you, Ash. Great to have you on board. And so David says, "I'm excited to learn all about this, and I've been thinking about doing this for years." Welcome, David.
Excellent. Welcome.
I'm glad to have you. And let's see, it looks like Terrence is going to wrap us up with the last couple of questions. Terrence says, "How difficult or time consuming are the post-session assignments? Again, I'm just concerned about having enough time to benefit from the course in a timely manner. Are the assignments relatively straightforward, even if you're a total neophyte in regard to option trading or options knowledge?"
I think that, I can tell you this because one of the cool things, by the way, about the class is we give you an assignment, right? But we also have a PDF where you can print out a step-by-step walkthrough of the assignment. But I also make videos that actually take you step-by-step on how to do the assignment. It's kind of like an open book test. The assignments will last probably anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, honestly. They're not that hard. You can run through them in 5 minutes if you're really adept and you kind of understand what's going on. But I have videos that kind of take you through step by step. I've got printouts that you can print out that you can walk through step by step. I would say, 15, 20 minutes at the most.
And again, I'm gonna say, hey, it sounds like you're serious about this, Terrence, because you're asking a lot of great questions. Don't neglect yourself. The homework's there for a reason. The assignments are there for a reason. You're learning a system. It does not have to be learned in the next 6 to 7 weeks. Do it, right? I don't want to make this out to be as difficult as learning brain surgery, but you don't want to be like a doctor who's going to med school and saying, "Oh, come on. Do I really need to go through all this practice? Can we just get?" I'm very strapped for time. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. Do the work to see the results. Right? Even if it takes longer than the 7 weeks. Yes, I know like some of the bonus sessions and the Options Pro software will go away after the 7 weeks. But this is a lifelong journey. You're learning a system that's going to help you for the rest of your life. Put in the time, get good at it. Don't cut yourself short, So John says, "I'm in." Just typed it in. Welcome aboard, John. And Terrence's last question there is, does Schwab have a similar platform to Thinkorswim?
Yeah, I think it's like their Active Trader Pro, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on what they use. But yeah, they do have a kind of a more advanced platform that you can use for options, and it's perfectly good. We have a lot of clients that use Schwab.
Yep. Yeah, Balaram says Street Smart Edge.
Street Smart Edge, that's it. Active Trader Pro might be Fidelity.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. I've played around with those, and Thinkorswim is actually pretty sweet, but it's probably just a learning curve. You'll get used to it, and again, just call the broker. Let's see. Oh yeah, Balaram says I use Street Smart Edge. All right, so let's see. We got Balaram says I'm in. Awesome, great to have you. So does I already mentioned John. Let's see. And Dason Yeah, I believe there's with probably was tax that you mentioned. The government is wanting pieces of everything now. And see, Terrence says, one final question. Do you lose access to the software tools once the course is done? And the answer is, yeah, there's a set time because in all honesty, we actually have to pay fees. It's not free to give out the software. So that's why there's a certain time frame that you guys have access to the software, which it'll go through basically Christmas. I think actually Christmas might be the end of the access. And you can buy yourself a Christmas present if you want to join the coaching or get the software afterwards. But yes, you have access to it for pretty much November and December. And then the software goes away unless you choose to continue. Desan says, I am in. Welcome. Great to have you in the group. And Walter, take a look at our website. There's going to be a few more for you to check out. And Alan says, I'm in too. I almost left you out, Alan. All right. So if you need anything, call our office. Like if we missed one of your questions, give our office a call. The phone number's in the chat. It's 888-658-7638. We are always excited to do this live. We only do it a few times a year, and this is one of them. And like Ron, you mentioned to me that earlier today, you're like, yeah, this is actually going to be the last one this year. The next time one is going to be sometime next year. There's no specified date right now. So if you want to get ready for 2022, now's the time, because Ron's going to guide you for the month of November, the month of December. He's going to hold your hand. And by the time 2022 comes, you're going to be ready to go to place these income trades. All right, so we're excited to start this. It's an exciting time for us here. Hopefully it is for you. I'm going to pass it over to Ron. David just says, I'm in. So Ron, I'm going to pass it over to you to wrap things up for the night.
All right, well, you guys have been with me now for almost 2 hours, so I'll make it quick. Thank you guys so much for attending with me these last 2 hours here. I hope you got some good value out of it. For those of you that are in, I can't wait for another couple weeks. We're going to be working together till the end of the year, implementing this stuff, putting it together, and preparing for a good, prosperous 2022. So thanks once again, everybody, for attending. I hope you loved it, and we'll see you guys next month for the Live Options Paycheck. Take care, everyone, and have a great evening.